Have you ever been sitting at a red light and this massive, gleaming luxury car just pulls up right next to you? Or maybe you're scrolling through your feed and you see someone posting these incredible pictures from a five-star resort wearing head-to-toe designer clothes. It completely flips the script on everything we're taught about money, success, and status. I mean, what is your immediate thought? For most of us, it's just this automatic, wow, they are rich. We naturally equate those luxury cars and expensive clothes with real wealth. But in this explainer, we're going to look at the data and the psychology behind wealth. And honestly, the reality of who is actually wealthy is going to completely surprise you. Let's jump right in. See, a lot of people believe wealth is something you can physically look at. A bigger house, a luxury car, the absolute latest gadgets. These things are highly visible, right? But real wealth is completely invisible. Think about it this way. If someone drops $50,000 on a brand new luxury car, what do you actually see when they drive by? You see the shiny vehicle, you see the fancy leather seats. But you know what you don't see? You don't see the $50,000 that is now just gone forever. You don't see the investments they didn't make, the opportunities they gave up, or the future wealth they sacrificed literally just to make that purchase. So, I've got to ask you directly, is that person actually rich? It's a really fascinating paradox. A lot of times the people who look the absolute richest, the ones just dripping invisible status symbols, they are actually the ones struggling the most financially. They're living paycheck to paycheck just to maintain this image. Meanwhile, the people building real generational wealth, they often look surprisingly ordinary. They're the ones driving, the 10-year-old sedan. This right here is what we call the hidden cost of looking rich. Okay, so why do we do this? We really need to understand the psychology here. Humans are highly social creatures. We naturally compare ourselves to others. It's literally hardwired into our brains. When we see people showing off their success, we feel this intense, almost primal pressure to keep up. We want a nicer phone, a better apartment, more expensive vacations. And it's not because we actually need them, but because we want to feel successful in the eyes of our peers. Psychologists call this social comparison. But here's the massive trap. We are almost always comparing our messy, everyday real life to someone else's carefully curated highlight reel. And let me tell you, falling into that comparison trap becomes incredibly expensive. All right, moving on to the cost of comparison and the two paths you can take. Imagine a tale of two friends who earn the exact same salary. They work at the exact same company, they have the same background, but they choose two radically different paths when it comes to their money. Let's call them the spender and the investor. So the spender takes every single raise and bonus and uses it to upgrade their lifestyle. They buy the nicer car, they get the better clothes, they post those impressive social media updates. And for the first few years, the spender definitely looks much richer. But the investor takes a totally different approach. The investor takes those exact same raises and quietly puts them into assets. Now, at first, nothing exciting really happens. But over time, the investor's money starts growing. Their assets begin working for them. Year after year, the gap between these two friends widens, until eventually the investor, who looked far less wealthy early on, becomes astronomically wealthier than this spender. And this perfectly illustrates the ultimate choice we all have to make with our money. Are you spending on status? Or are you investing for freedom? The mindset shift that so many people never make is realizing that spending money just creates attention. It makes people look at you. But investing your money creates the ultimate goal, which is freedom. Freedom from financial stress, freedom to choose how you spend your time, freedom to jump on opportunities without constantly worrying about your next paycheck. Ironically, chasing the mere appearance of wealth actually delays your real wealth. This brings us to a fundamental rule of money, the two prices. Every single purchase you make carries two prices. First, there's the amount you pay today, literally the price tag on the item. But second, and honestly far more importantly, there is the future growth you give up tomorrow. Every dollar you spend trying to impress strangers is a dollar that can no longer work for your future. When you buy a status symbol, you are literally sacrificing your future wealth, your future freedom, just to get a temporary nod of approval today. Okay, let's talk about pushing the wealth boulder and how you actually build your momentum. As people build their initial wealth, specifically as they approach that crucial $100,000 mark, this incredible psychological shift happens. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering you have exactly $100,000 in investments. Most people would instantly think about what they could buy, a dream vacation, a down payment on a better car. But the people who actually reach that milestone and keep growing their wealth, they stop thinking about what money can buy entirely. They start thinking about what money can do. The core truth is, wealth is what you keep, not what you show. The truly wealthy stop viewing money as a reward to spend after a hard week of work. Look, we are surrounded by ads telling us money exists just to upgrade our lifestyle.
But when you shift your mindset, you realize money isn't just spending power. Money is freedom. The second money stops being a tool for status and starts becoming a tool for freedom, everything in your life changes.
To really grasp this shift, try thinking of your money as tiny employees. If you spend $1 on a fancy coffee or a new gadget, that is an employee quitting immediately. They're gone, and they will absolutely never work for you again. But if you keep those dollars and put them to work in investments, those tiny employees start generating more dollars. They don't sleep, they don't take vacations, they work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, constantly generating more wealth for you.
So the crucial point is understanding how this actually feels in practice. Building your initial wealth is exactly like pushing a giant boulder up a steep hill. At first, it's totally exhausting. You save a few $100s, you invest a little bit, every single push feels difficult, and honestly, the boulder barely moves. That is exactly what building wealth feels like before you hit that $100,000 mark. But once you push that boulder to the very top of the hill and it starts rolling down the other side, massive momentum takes over. Suddenly, your money starts helping you create more money. The growth isn't just coming from your hard work anymore, it's coming from your assets doing all the heavy lifting.
Now let's look at consumption versus asset ownership. Most people spend their entire lives obsessing over increasing their income, just so they can increase their consumption. But wealthy people, they focus entirely on increasing their ownership. Ownership of investments, ownership of businesses, ownership of assets that compound over time. Because they understand you can only physically work so many hours in a day, but your assets can scale infinitely. So how do we actually make this transition? Here are 3 exact ways to prioritize asset ownership over status right now. Number 1, stop trying to impress strangers. When you hit a certain wealth milestone, you naturally stop chasing status because you are way more excited about watching your investments grow than buying another expensive gadget. Number 2, focus on what money does rather than what it buys. Remember, the goal is no longer consumption, the goal is freedom. And number 3, keep dollars so they generate more dollars. Hang on to those tiny employees.
Finally, let's break down your step-by-step mindset shift. We've talked a lot about the theory, but here is the exact, actionable, step-by-step guide you can use today to break the cycle of consumption and actually shift to an ownership mindset. The next time you're tempted to buy a luxury item or the absolute latest gadget, I want you to do this. Step 1. Pause. Explicitly recognize the 2 prices of that item. Acknowledge the future wealth you are about to give up. Step 2. Ask yourself honestly, are you buying wealth or are you just buying the appearance of it? And step 3, instead of making the purchase, open up your investment app and convert that cash into tiny employees. Buy an index fund, buy a stock, buy an asset. Put that money to work for you 24/7.
I want to leave you with this final, provocative question to ask yourself every single time money leaves your hands. Am I buying wealth or just the appearance of wealth? Because remember, buying the appearance of wealth might give you a thrill that lasts for a weekend. But buying actual wealth, investing in your financial freedom, and shifting to an ownership mindset, that is a choice that will change your entire life. Thanks for checking out this explainer, and I really hope this sparks a massive change in how you view your tiny employees.